Hello and welcome to my channel. In my tutorial today, I'm going to be showing you guys how to block out your brows. Yeah, this video has been long overdue. And like all of my Halloween tutorials, I was like, I'll post a video soon and I finally got around to doing it. If you guys would like to see how to do that, then please keep watching. And without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys how to block your brows. You're going to need a glue stick, some powder. I'm going to be using this mattifying powder. And then you'll need a few different tones of concealer. So I'm going to use this one here. It's like almost like an orange. It's going to color correct, so it's going to block out the darkness from my brows, and then I'm going to use a lighter tone concealer to kind of match it a little bit more to my skin tone, and then I'm going to put foundation over top. So I'm going to do one just to speed this video up. I'll be right back. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is glue your brows going against the grain of the hair. So I am going to run that like so. And then I'm going to go back with the grain of the hair. You can press pretty hard for this first application because you want it to be as close to the skin as possible. And then before that dries, I'm going to take a spoolie and then brush the hairs through so it really coats all of it and makes it lie a little bit flatter to the face. And then I'm going to let that dry. I usually don't wait like super long or anything, but let that dry a little bit. Then I'm going to take some translucent setting powder and lightly brush that through just so that it kind of coats it and it prevents it from sticking from itself, so that when I do the next layer it's not going to like lift up or anything like that. And it will also show you the areas that didn't really stick down as well. So you can kind of like brush it back a little bit. I'm going really lightly with my pressure though. And then we're just going to repeat those steps for probably 4 to 5 layers. It's usually about how many I do, depending on the type of look that I'm going for. If it's not like super imperative that I have like amazing blocked brows, then I'll just kind of do like maybe 3 or 4, but I'd say 5 is like ideal. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Also, when you're applying your second layer, it took me a while to like kind of perfect it, so to say. So I would kind of go as hard as I did the first time to try and get to lay as flat as possible. You can do that, but be wary that the glue might start to lift up and you'll find that you'll have patches that there won't be any glue and you just have to fucking take it all off and start all over again. So that's why I would recommend applying it pretty lightly. So almost kind of like letting it melt with the warmth of your skin. And then it kind of glides on a lot easier. And then I'm going to lightly press and sort of roll my finger along. I found that if you just kind of like press like that, it will lift up the glue again, and then you'll have to start all over. But this is just to press the hairs down a little bit more so they stick together. And then some more translucent powder. So just kind of pulling off the pieces that I don't really, if I've got like big chunks or whatever, I'll kind of pull those off very lightly. Again, press and roll. And you also want to try and prevent, like try not to get too much of the glue here or here, because when you cover it and you draw stuff over it, you'll kind of be able to like see that on your skin. It doesn't really look super amazing, so I would recommend to try and keep it as close to your brow as possible without going onto the rest of the skin. I am going to take the darkest one here. This is the Ben Nye SK2 highlight wheel. I use it in a lot of my Halloween tutorials, and I found that it works really well. So if you've got like a color corrector, Bobbi Brown makes a lot of really good correctors. So you could always go to Sephora and get like a little sample size if you kind of wanted to try it out. So I'm going to take that and apply it to my brows with a flat concealer brush. Doesn't have hair on it. With a flat concealer brush. And I'm just going to press it onto the skin. You don't want to drag it, because if you do, you'll start to pull up the glue. So it's better if you press. It'll keep it more so where you want it to be applied. And I try not to go too like too much above or below the brow. I kind of just like to keep this particular color mainly where the brow is. And you want to press into all the little cracks and crevices so it gets fully coated and covered. And you can go kind of like all sorts of directions to fully coat it. You'll kind of notice you'll get like little tiny almost like bubbles, that it kind of looks like bubbles. So if you go back like the other direction, that should coat it. I also kind of like to just fucking bring that in the middle of my eyebrow because it's gonna get blended out anyways. So we'll have a nice unibrow. And then I very lightly like to take my finger or like a beauty blender and go along the outsides and blend it a bit more so it's kind of more flush to your skin. You can go back with your brush and blend the edges a little bit more. We're going to take a concealer that's a little bit more skin tone like this is really light for my skin tone, but it is closest out of this wheel, and I'm going to cover all that up. This is going to help. So we just color corrected the brows. This is going to make it a little bit more skin tone like, so it looks like skin, and then I'm going to put foundation on, and that is going to completely cover them. You don't have to add too much of this one since we are going to be covering it up again. Oh, I forgot to say, well actually I forgot to do it. Between each step you want to powder. So I'm going to add a little bit of powder after this. And it'll take you a little while to get the hang of this. It took me a while to get the hang of it. I kind of got better as I got along throughout my YouTube tutorials. And then for the last step I'm going to add some foundation. So you guys have seen me do this step in a lot of my Halloween tutorials. So this is kind of where I usually take it. But yeah, it's pretty easy to cover them up. Again, it does take a little bit of practice to get it just right. And if you have a lot of eyebrow hair, you're going to want to do a bit more layers. So usually when I'm applying my foundation and my brows are blocked, I'll do the lower half of my face first and stipple it onto the skin, into the skin. And then when I get to the forehead, I'll kind of stipple along the hairline. Because I don't want to ruin everything that I just did, I'm going to take a flat foundation brush. I was using a stippling brush before. And again, pat and press onto the skin rather than stippling because you don't want to ruin all the work that you just did. And this really kind of sells the whole blocked brow look because it makes it more flesh tone and matches the rest of your skin. So the very last step, again, powder. You want to make sure that your eyebrows are set and they're not going to move or anything like that. So I just like to add a little bit of powder once I've got all of that done. And that, you guys, is how I block my brows. Boom, bam, done. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to blocking your brows. I hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful and useful in some sort of way. And let me know what you thought in the comment section below if you guys have tried this tutorial. What are your thoughts on it? And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.